All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Sarah Cahoon, and I am happy to welcome you to the Givenchy Road Canadian Cemetery. Originally called Canadian Cemetery Number 1, the Givenchy Road Canadian Cemetery contains the graves of 111 Canadian soldiers, of whom 2 are unknown, who fell on the first day of the Battle of Vimy Ridge on April 9th, 1917, and on the following 4 days. Bonjour, je m'appelle Sarah Cahoon et j'aimerais vous souhaiter la bienvenue au cimetière canadien du chemin de Givenchy. Le cimetière canadien du chemin de Givenchy, initialement appelé canadien, le cimetière canadien numéro 1, renferme les tombes de 111 soldats canadiens, dont 2 soldats inconnus qui sont morts sur le champ de bataille le 9 avril 1917, premier jour de la bataille de la crête de Vimy, et au cours des 4 jours qui suivent. Emily Park et Rachel Moss vont maintenant présenter leur recherche sur Albert James Lawrence, qui a été enterré ici, Thomas Ricketts, qui est le cousin au 5e degré d'Emily et le plus jeune récipiendaire de la croix de Victoria dans le rôle de combat. Et aussi Buglé William Edward Daly, ainsi que d'autres jeunes Canadiens qui ont perdu la vie durant la Première Guerre mondiale. Emily Park and Rachel Moss will now present their research on Albert James Lawrence, who is buried here. Emily's 5th cousin, Thomas Ricketts, who is the youngest Victoria Cross recipient in a combat role, and bugler William Edward Daly, as well as other young Canadians who died in the First World War.
That's better.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Thomas Ricketts, who is my 5th cousin, was born in Middle Arm, Newfoundland on April 15th, 1901. When he volunteered for service with the Newfoundland Regiment in 1916, he was only 15 years old, but told recruiters he was 18. 15 is the same age as Lucas is here today. In fact, Private Ricketts had still not celebrated his 18th birthday when he earned the Victoria Cross on October 14th, 1918, near Ledgeham in Belgium. For this, he became one of the youngest ever recipients of the Victoria Cross, one of the most famous medals for bravery in the world. Thomas Ricketts is known as Newfoundland's most decorated war hero for his courageous acts on these battlefields 100 years ago. There's a street named after him, and even a school. Generations of Newfoundlanders have heard the story of his bravery in the Great War. However, we can't find that this soldier, my relative, went from being a 15-year-old boy growing up in a small fishing village in Newfoundland to fighting in muddy and dangerous battlegrounds on the Western Front. He would have observed death, destruction, and violence, experiences that teenage boys should never have to live through. Luckily, though, for Thomas Ricketts, he did return home to a future as a pharmacist and businessman in St. John's, Newfoundland, until his death in 1967. Some young soldiers were not as lucky. Canadian Private William Edward Daly was only 14 years old when he enlisted, making him possibly the youngest Commonwealth soldier to serve in the First World War. He was halfway through his summer holiday from school when Daly decided to leave his home in Gannuck, Ontario, to go off to war. He was assigned to the brass and bugle band. However, Daly was a good, if adventurous, son and wrote often to his mother Florence back home. He also exchanged many letters with his girlfriend Leona. On July 16, 1916, he joined the 4th Battalion, and he wrote to his mother, "I'm going to the trenches tonight as a bugler. I suppose I will see some great sights over there. I didn't have to go unless I wanted to, but I volunteered." The sights that would have greeted Daly, however, were anything but great. Rather, it was grim, rat-infested trenches and intense shelling. On September 7, 1916, Daly would have had a lot to live for, and likely dreamed of going home to his parents and his girlfriend Leona. Sadly, it was not to be. The 15-year-old was taking part in one of the bloodiest battles of the First World War, the Battle of the Somme. and Daly was killed instantly by a sniper's bullet. Private Daly was killed less than 2 months after joining the 4th Battalion. The captain at the 1st Canadian Infantry Brigade wrote to his mother, "The 4th Battalion did some great work of importance during these days, and your son was killed in the midst of very valuable duty at a time when men of his work were needed."
Les parents de William, Timothy et Florence, de même que sa petite amie Leona, ont été plongés dans le duel. Le soldat Tom Haig a écrit à la mère de William Daly à Gananoque en Ontario. Je suis désolé de vous annoncer que le jeune Daly a été tué le 7 septembre. Il a été tué par un tireur d'élite dans une zone neutre. Les hommes lui ont fait une sépulture décente dans un cimetière des environs. Le clariniste James McGee a également écrit qui suit à Madame Daly. Nous nous ennuyons tous beaucoup de Bill, car il était toujours souriant et prêt à aider tout le monde. Il a été blessé au cours de sa 2e ou 3e présence dans les tranchées, et nous avons été très durement affectés. Cher ami, Bill a été touché par un tireur d'élite et n'a absolument pas souffert. William Daly était simplement comme beaucoup de jeunes canadiens pendant la Première Guerre mondiale, qui étaient partis outre-mer à la tête pleine d'idées. Ils sont partis pour une grande aventure, pour faire leur part, puis retourner chez eux. Pour de nombreux jeunes soldats, cependant, la fin était tragique, et ils n'ont jamais retourné à la maison. Le jeune soldat William Daly, âgé de 15 ans, et 147 autres Canadiens sont enterrés au cimetière de Sunken Road. Une feuille d'érable est gravée sur leur pierre tombale, tout comme les mots « Mother's Darling ».
Private William Daly, aged 15, and 147 other Canadians are buried here in Sunken Road Cemetery. A maple leaf is engraved on his headstone, as are the words "Mother's Darling." We are wearing his dog tags today to remember him and all the young soldiers from Canada and Newfoundland who have lost their lives.
Ici au cimetière canadien du chemin de Givenchy, on compte quelques 110 Canadiens enterrés qui ont perdu la vie au cours de la bataille de la crête de Vimy. Parmi eux, il y a Albert James Lawrence, le fils de Monsieur et Madame James Lawrence. Il est mort à l'âge de 17 ans le 9 avril 1917. Sa tombe se trouve dans la section B au numéro 49. Aujourd'hui, nous déposerons des croix ornées d'un coquelicot sur les tombes de tous les braves jeunes hommes enterrés ici, qui ont sacrifié leur vie pendant la bataille de la crête de Vimy. Les croix ornées d'un coquelicot ont été fabriquées par nos compagnons de classe chez nous à Terre-Neuve, et sur chacun on trouve un message personnel de souvenirs et remerciements.
The first cross we will lay today will be at the grave of Albert James Lawrence, the youngest Canadian soldier buried here at Givenchy. We are also wearing his dog tag today to remember him, and other Canadian soldiers buried here. We will remember them.
We want to remember them. Thank you very much. Oh, forgot that part.
Thank you, Emily and Rachel. Merci. I invite you to follow Sergeant Jeremy Maitland to the Great Cross as he plays. Je vous invite à suivre le sergent Jeremy Maitland alors qu'il jouera. Sergeant Jeremy Maitland will now play the last toast, followed by 2 minutes of silence and the rouse. Corporal Daniel Urban will follow the rouse with the lament. Au cours des prochaines minutes, nous entendrons le sergent Jeremy Maitland jouer la dernière sonnerie et nous observerons ensuite 2 minutes de silence, puis ce sera le réveil. Après le réveil, le caporal Daniel Urban jouera l'élégie. joining us. Before going to lunch, I invite you to take a few moments to visit the cemetery and place a poppy cross at one of the graves as Corporal Daniel Guerin plays a song bugler William Edward Daly played during battle. There are enough crosses to put one at each grave. Emily Park will lay the first cross at the grave of Albert James Lawrence, one of the youngest Canadian soldiers buried here at Givenchy. Je vous remercie tous de votre présence ici aujourd'hui. Avant de partir pour le dîner, je vous invite à prendre un peu de temps pour visiter le cimetière et déposer une croix de coquelicots sur l'une des tombes pendant que le corporal Daniel Hehr interprète une pièce que jouait bugler William Edward Daly durant le combat. Il y a suffisamment de croix pour en déposer une à chacune des tombes. Emily Park déposera la première croix sur la tombe d'Albert James Lawrence, l'un des plus jeunes soldats inhumés ici à Givenchy. Thank you. Merci. That's what you made? Yeah. Oh, here, hold it up and I'll. Okay. Okay, you're like.
That was the Victoria Cross winner at saved the life today. That's good. Yeah. Let the bagpipes go.